So GuideSign is sign design, GuideSign Sigma is sign planning and pavement marking, GuideSign Plus is sign design, sign planning and pavement marking. The new features that are in GuideSign Plus 8 are the customizable annotations, the 3D signs and supports, the sign plan templates, and the new pavement marking software. So let's go ahead now, and we're actually going to create some signs in sign design, show how that kind of works, and then we'll go ahead and do some work in sign plan and some pavement marking. So we have some very basic examples laid out here. So we're going to start off by checking our settings, make sure we're in the correct settings. For purpose of the demo, we're doing inches, US 2009. We're going to drop in a panel style. These are panel styles based on the image CD. Dropping in a blank panel, and everything is essentially driven from the panel style. We're going to start in by dropping in a shield, basic highway shield. Put in the numbers we want. We have the various snap options to object, to margin, to panel. Drop that in. Place some text. The way we're seeing the object snap option there, placing that down below. We can place in an arrow below that. We'll just drop in that simple arrow down below. So that's a simple example of signs, 3 elements, but it shows some of the basic tools. We'll do a slightly more complicated example here. Starts off the same way, creating the shield, or creating the panel, and then dropping in a shield. The typical strategy for GuideSign is you'll sort of work your way across the top and then work your way down, or work down one of the sides and across. That's the best strategy usually for GuideSign. We'll drop in the other sign now, or the other shield. Then we have to go and drop one more. It just has to regenerate. There it is. Drop in the text style for east. There it is. And then we have the text down below. So I have two street names here, very generic names, Front Street and West Avenue. Just made them up. We'll drop in the other piece of text down below that. Then we have to center the text. We're going to do a move multiples, so demonstrate how that works. So selecting the objects that we want to move, then selecting the reference object, selecting the green space again, and then we're going to center that down, those 2 objects down below those ones. And then we can go ahead and do our arrows as well. And so that's an example of how you can make a sign like that. And we can also make some of these other signs as well. That Greenville-Plainsville sign is an interesting one with the dividing lines. There's also things like exit panels and custom and preset symbols, standard signs. There's a lot more types of content here as well. So just same idea, we're starting in with putting shields in text, and then we're going to go ahead and place in the arrows and then space things out appropriately. So I put in some street names here. So what I just did there is did a manual override to space that text out from the first one. Oh, put the wrong name in. I'm just going to change that. I'll do the other one directly above that. And just finishing this up by just doing the third set of text. Again, doing the manual spacing to be able to space things out. Placing the shield above that. And we'll be done this example shortly enough. This just shows some of the capabilities of the software and some of the tricks that you can do. Drop in an arrow down below that. The last step is putting in the dividing lines. So I placed that up there, but I have to still move it down just to line it up appropriately with the other ones. So I just did a fix the X and then you did it by margin. There's different ways you could accomplish that same result. And we just put in the short lines and then we're done with GuideSign. Just put in a vertical line. I could do a manual spacing if I calculate out the distance. I could do it one more time, or I can actually just go and use my CAD commands, which is what I'm doing here. Because we're in the CAD environment, you can use your MicroStation and CAD and AutoCAD commands for moving, copying, and scaling, and functions like that, if you wish to. So that's all I'm doing here. And so that's just a demo of how to make a sign like that in GuideSign. So we've created 3 signs here, and there's other features we could talk about as well. Just showing some other signs. There's one there with an LED sign in, which has just a piece of custom content. These are some street signs. There's some bicycle signs that I made up. Just showing some of the kind of the range of what's possible with the software. We can get into more of like custom things. You can make things like our logos, and there's a social distancing sign because of COVID. So just showing some of the custom content that's possible. There's also things like place report, place shield, and the export sign to cutter for creating the DXF. The last step I'm doing here is creating a sign library. So what I'm doing is I'm exporting those signs into a cell file, and I'm just loading up one of the ones I already had made. So loading up the cell file. If you're on AutoCAD, this would be a DWG file. And you can simply provide a name for your sign and then save it into the file. I already had it in there, so I just put a dash behind it. Anyway, so these are all the signs from this example. Let's go in to do some sign planning now. So I'm checking the program settings from Sign Plan. This is the second of the ribbons. Again, we're working with the US. So the first step for this is to start with a reference line. So I've already have some reference lines preset into this drawing. But you go and create one, you simply just have to select line work from your CAD drawing, whether it be polylines or complex chains. provide a name for it, whatever is reasonable. This could be an edge of road, could be a center line, it could be anything that provides a reference for your sign planning. By datum, by station, or reference signs. Datum simply is the start of the polyline or complex chain. If you have a known station, that's where you put it into. There's an XY plane option there. If you have a surface, that would actually be showing up at that point. That's a new feature because of the 3D. And most of what you're doing in sign planning is based off the create sign assembly library. So I'm putting in a standard sign here. So I'm just looking through the standard signs for METCD 2009. I'm going to find the sign that we're going to use for our demo. And I'm just going to use a warning sign. So basic street light ahead sign for this intersection. We can adjust the standard size or put in a custom size we wanted to. Assembly statuses. There's the types of sign supports, and there's the annotation. So this is important to talk about. This is a new feature. As I mentioned already, this is the new annotation system. You can put in your fields top, bottom, left, right. I'm using one of the preset ones here, but I'm just showing how you could then modify those depending on what you want to do. So there's some of the presets that are available. These can also be saved and then shared with other users. Picking a reference line. Once we get that, place that where we want it, and then we place our sign off of the side of the drawing where we want it. You can place those in any facing you want or any direction. And so that's the first of the sign assemblies. We can go ahead and make a few more of these. Depending on what our situation is. Just scrolling through more of what's the potential signs that are available in the sign library for US METCD, grabbing a speed limit sign there. So we're back to this again. You set your status, you set your structure that you're mounting this on. These are simply single post structures. And there it is again. This time we're doing a user-defined sign. So we'll grab one of our street names from that library that we were working with earlier. We're going to mount this one on double post. Mount that up by the stop bar. And so that's a really start of a really basic site plan for this intersection. Going to do one more, a little more complicated sign. Grab that one that we worked on earlier. Now we're not going to mount that on a post, we're going to mount that on a cantilever. And we see there on the preview down below. There's also a new feature to be able to add a custom symbol in if you don't want to use the Transoft symbol. So we're just again grabbing one of the reference lines for this drawing here. And we just follow the steps through. Now for the cantilever or span, you have to choose a length, center or place wherever you want that, and then we have the assembly. And we see that there. So now we can view some of this in 3D and see what this looks like. So there's an example of the 3D. If you're in AutoCAD, you would have to change your visual styles. For MicroStation, you don't have that additional step. And we can further adjust this if we want. Come back into Edit Sign Assembly, and we can still make changes. I can come in here and I can actually increase my truss clearance if that's not sufficient, given the large size of that sign. Adjust that, and we just pulled everything up. I might have to just adjust the 2D again one last time. You can always come back in here and edit things after the fact. So that's what that cantilever would look like in a 3D. Again, there's the 2D signs we just placed also. So those single post signs. So again, those can be viewed in a 2D or a 3D environment. There, just flipping over to my more completed example, show what a completed sign plan of this intersection would look like. And flipping over to this larger sign plan intersection, seeing some cantilever signs, some standard signs, and different elements. Now, there's also a toggle for the 2D and 3D. I was showing everything on, but you can toggle these on or off as you need. So I just toggled some of the 2D off. Seeing the sign from behind there. Anyway, that's what it looks like from the front. And again, there's that cantilever structure up there. And again, I'm showing this one last time. And from here on, we can go and start talking about some of the other features. We're going to do some of the work with the template now. So I'm back and looking at my intersection plan here. So this is showing what it would look like to modify or what it looks like to edit one of the templates. I'm just loading up one of them to show what that looks like. So that's where you can then lay out the various elements. This is one of the preset ones. Let's just go and create a new one just to show how that works. So these are the various elements: direction, datum, geometry, offsets, and so on. Essentially, you can build up a script following those. And these are some of the preset ones for the US and Canada. We have curve of road, intersection, one leg, four legs, etc. This is the one leg of an intersection example that you've already seen. So you can then set the direction of travel, set the right side of road, the left side of road, and there's images there to help interpret all this. And then there's set where the stop bar is, which provides essentially the stationing. And then from there on, it creates these three assigned assemblies. It's a simple example to start with, but this can get as complex as you need to, depending on what your situation is. From here, you can always come in and edit these after the fact, and then put in, if case for these, for the street names and things like that, you can put in your own user-defined signs. That's what I just did there. Or you can leave the standard signs where they are. You can also attach your annotations as you need to, which is what I just did there as well. Same idea, that is one of the temporary traffic control example that's now in the software, and some of the larger intersection example, which is again just all four legs but at one time. So that's just showing some of the power of the template system. It's based on essentially just adding the geometry and telling you what signs to place at what locations. We're going to finish off by doing some pavement marking. So I flipped over to the pavement marking toolbar. We can either enter this geometry by drawing it or by picking objects. We also can even split the distances by going and selecting the two edges and then dividing it into however many lanes there are. So that's what I'm just doing there. I just put in creating the edge of the road, the edge of the roads. So pick whatever you want. Let's just do the lane line there. So just picking off those objects. So really, even in a matter of a couple of minutes, I can go and essentially draft up all the pavement marking for this, and it's simply just following the CAD geometry. There are other features there which I mentioned, but I'm just doing the simplest one is probably just to use the CAD geometry. I just did a double center line, yellow. Do a stop bar. Just did a transverse crosswalk there. Now I'll show how to edit those. You can always come in here and edit. So that's fully grip editable object. You can come in, do that with it. So this is far more than simply entering CAD blocks when you can do stuff like that with it. You can also come in here and edit these. So I can change the geometry if I needed to from here. I could also add other construction information as needed as well. We have all the complete libraries of all the symbols, all your arrows and things like that. Then we wanted our turn arrows. Now if you're doing signage and pavement marking with the same software, you can make sure that everything's all working together because your signage and your pavement marking objects are both conveying information to drivers. So that's an advantage of having this all in the same piece of software. I'm just doing some bicycle lane on this example. There's a bicycle symbol. There's the lane markings for that. Oops, I hit the wrong button there. There's some of the other bicycle stuff. There's the preferential lanes in here for like HOV and stuff like that. We'll do a hatching. And so there it is. It's just a yellow hatching based on, I selected one side of it and then the other side of it, and then its software goes and hatches that appropriately. There's other features here. There's all the 3D furniture, markers, railings. I'm just doing a bit of labeling here. Oops, did something wrong on that one. Try that again. Yeah, there it is. So that's just a quick way of labeling things, and that you can customize the look of that as well. And markings inquiry, this is like a quantity takeoff essentially. So I can do a quantity takeoff of everything that's in my drawing, or I can select individual parts of it. Takes a second there. There it is. And these are just tables that the software is generating and bringing into the drawing. So that's just the completed example there with the pavement marking, the standard signs, the user-defined signs, showing what you can do essentially with this software. Here's the other example I have as well. Again, that larger highway intersection with different signage associated with that. I just viewed it in 3D for the last time. Again, that's that sign we were working on earlier. All right, and then we're done with the demo. Okay. So we're back into the PowerPoint here. So CAD compatibility, Software can be used in all the recent versions of AutoCAD, our Autodesk AutoCAD and Civil 3D. Also Bentley MicroStation VNI Connect, Open Roads. We also support BricsCAD 20 and 21. So we're into the question and answer session now. I can bring back up the live Connect if we need to, but we'll look at some questions.
One of the questions was, can you actually show the different libraries that we are providing?
Okay.
The custom content for the different ones?
Okay, just a second here. All right. So you want to see the standard sign libraries?
Yes. So, but also, for example, we have different libraries for Texas and
sure.
for.
So I don't have them all loaded, but I have most of them, I think. So going to insert standard signs. So I just demoing everything from Federal 2009 MUTCD. There's California in here, which again is all the categories for California. Colorado, we've updated one for that. There's Florida. New York State we have. Illinois, we've done that one last year. There's Texas you mentioned. That's another really big one. Virginia, North Carolina. There's other ones under development. We've also recently did, I know, Washington, Oregon, I think Idaho, I think Ohio is in progress. So there's lots of content that's here and that's also available. And for our Canadian users, we have the Canadian tax standards as well. All right, we'll continue on. Does this work with Civil 3D similar to AutoTurn or as a separate software? Well, this is a separate software, but it is because the AutoTurn works inside of your CAD. So does this. You can work with them in parallel with each other. Okay. I already answered some of these. Can you edit information on standard signs, such as destinations on the can you edit information on signs? Yeah, so as you're entering in your signs, you have the option of adding comments essentially on them. Just picking something here. So you have these replacement fields. You could enter information there if you wanted to. You also have, when you're putting, I need a sign for that. As you're also doing that, you also have these the replacement fields I mentioned, but you also have other fields, custom notes in here. So there are places where you can enter in other information if you need to it, and that can then be passed through into the annotation system.
Another question was, is there any way to change the font on the dimension?
Can
you show this?
Yeah, okay. Okay, back into sign design. Go back to your program settings, dimensions. So this is the options that are available in here. So you can change the color, you can change the sizes of that. If you wanted to change the font, you would have to just simply change the font that's current in your CAD system. For AutoCAD, that's text style command, and you can just change whatever your current is. I'm sure it's similar to MicroStation. I'm not sure offhand exactly how you would do that. But yeah, it's just simply it's simply you're going to use whatever your current font in your CAD system is.
Another question is, can you update a border once a panel is already started?
No, you have to go back and change the panel style. So that would be if you need to either go find a different panel style or modify it and make your own panel style.
Okay. Another question was actually for the pavement markings. Can you show quantity takeoff for pavement markings?
We kind of did that right at the end of the demo, but we can go do that again. So let's go into pavement marking tool.
And just for overall clarification, so the pavement marking is totally new now with this version, with version 8. So it's totally overhauled pavement marking. And as you can see, all the nice things what we now incorporated into it.
So anyway, that's it. It's called Markings Inquiry under the GuideSIGN Markings tools here. So that just does a list of everything that's in that drawing. Again, if I had specific more than one drawing in, I could specify an area as well. So that's how you can do a basic quantity takeoff for the pavement.
Can you just zoom in a little bit that you can see actually what it is? Perfect. So you can really see the different types of lanes, what you have, also the width, and also how many approximately, in feet or in meter, depends on where you are.
All right. Any further questions? Lots here.
We heard that there's a couple of audio issues. Let us know if you have problems. Okay.
All right. Can you edit information on standard signs such as destinations? Okay, we talked about that. Like to place signs on a point cell using CAD tool similar to smart location offset. I'm not quite sure what you're getting at there. You have to clarify, Jason, what you mean by that. Does GuideSign work with GIS? Yeah, we're working in that direction. We're still kind of starting that process. So yes, you can then using the annotation system, you can then report whatever information or fields you want into your CAD drawing, and from there, once you have that in a CAD environment, it's a fairly simple process to then do an export. So it's a start, but we're going to be doing a lot more work on that in the near future for follow-up versions. Custom 3D cantilevers. So we have a cantilever tool, but you actually want to be able to modify the geometry of your truss, which you can do. So let's go back into sign planning for a moment here. So again, we can grab one of the signs. In here, you can always come into your, that's for a single post, that's not much just to say. There's a span or a cantilever. You come in here and you can start modifying the geometry. There's make clearance, which I did in the demo. We also can modify some of the other things. We have rectangular truss, trichord truss. You can start changing some of this other geometry, and that will affect the 3D model. It doesn't affect the 2D because the 2D is simply a diagram, basically. But this does affect the 3D model. I think that's what you're asking about.
Another question was again for the pavement marking. Can the reference line under the stripe objects be turned off or set not to print?
Yeah, that's just a matter of toggling off your layers or your levels. So I didn't do that, but that's just a matter of going into your layers or levels and just turning off the appropriate ones. So yeah, it's quite simple to do that.
Another question also, do you have the library, the GuideSIGN for Quebec in French?
Yeah, the TAC one that's available is actually bilingual.
Mm-hmm. And you can also show maybe again a little bit the new accent tool what we have.
Okay, actually, yeah, sure. I'll just answer that first question first. Come in here. So anyway, there's the 2016 TAC library. Again, it has the English and the French versions of all of that. So for our Quebec, French Canada customers, this is the most updated. There's the older 2001 here as well. That is actually outdated. So if you're in that region, you should really be getting the 2016 one. All right, you were asking about seeing an accent. We actually didn't demo that, so let's go ahead and do something with that. Go into sign design here, make sure we got our back into some. Actually, I can demonstrate that one here. Let's just grab a panel, drop in some text. Come into advanced, go into here, and that's how you would then add your accents. So for French, you got the aigu, the circumflex, the grave, prima, and then we also have also these Spanish accents as well. So once you're picking whatever it is you wanted, essentially just select wherever you want to put them, put a distance on it if you need to, hit apply. And that's all it is. And the rest of them proceeds as normal. So that's how the accent tool works. So that supports French and Spanish currently. Any other questions?
One of the questions is more technical. Are the custom signs saved locally or in a network, so it's available to other users?
Yeah, so that's the custom signs that I'm making are saved into either cell files or block files. So yeah, once you make them, I'm just working off my hard drive, you're going to certainly share that file with your coworkers, and then they can use them.
And we have time for one more. Can you again show also for which software actually GuideSign and GuideSign Plus is available?
Yeah, so there it is. So AutoCAD, Autodesk 2015 to 2021 for AutoCAD or Civil 3D, Bentley, MicroStation V8i, V8i Connect, Geopack, and also mentioned Open Roads, BricsCAD versions 20 and 21.
Perfect.
So our contact information. So if you have any further technical questions, you can contact me, wbutler@transoftsolutions.com. Sales, contact our sales at transoftsolutions.com. Our head office is located in the Vancouver area of British Columbia, Canada. That's where we're actually talking to you from. We have other offices in other countries as well.
Perfect. And for all the questions we couldn't answer today, we will follow up with you by email. And again, you will receive an email, a follow-up email on how to access the recording. And if you want to have any information in regards to how much a license would be, please feel free to just shoot us an email and we will get back to you as soon as possible.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, and thank you to our panelists and everyone else involved in this project. GuideSign 8 has been about a year in development, so there's a tremendous amount of work been involved by a great deal many people. So thank you to everyone who's been involved in this project. I'll be closing the connection in a few minutes. We'll get back to anyone else with any further questions they have, and you can also email me directly as well, and I should hopefully get back to you in the next couple of days.